Hello, I'm Professor Simon Potter and I'm the Director of the Arts and Humanities Research Council's South Western Wales Doctoral Training Programme. I want to give you a bit of a guide to applying to the SWWDTP through this demystifying online session. So we do give a lot of advice, written advice on the DTP's website about applying, and I'd encourage you to read that advice really carefully. But we're aware as well that that's not always the most accessible way to present advice, so we've tried to record a series of videos to help you with your application. If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see that we've got a range of videos on detailed aspects of the application process. We've also posted a series of videos from our current students and from our diversity and inclusion student advocates. And we hope they give you a really good idea of some of the different pathways to funded PhD studentship and some good advice on the issues you might encounter during the application process, but also as a student if you're successful in your application for funding. What I want to do now is, in the first part of this online session, provide some guidance of some of the key elements of applying for studentship with us. And then in the second part of this online session, I'm going to give some advice covering key points that our diversity and inclusion advocates, our student advocates, have suggested that we should give a bit of additional guidance and support on. So I hope you'll find this online session helpful. The first step towards demystifying might be talking about the organisation that we are and what the numerous acronyms that you'll encounter in reading our guidance mean. So we are the South Western Wales Doctoral Training Programme. We are a consortium of 9 different universities who work together to co-fund PhD research and to provide additional training and support for PhD students in our funded student body. We co-fund the programme alongside the Arts and Humanities Research Council, which is the AHRC. The AHRC co-funds our studentships, and the AHRC is part of United Kingdom Research and Innovation, or UKRI. So you're going to hear those acronyms quite a lot as you go through the application process. You'll see in our guidance that there are 2 main schemes that we offer as a DTP. The first one is our student-led awards, and that's where you as a student put together a project, you talk to your supervisors about it, and you then bring that to us to see if we'll give it funding. The Collaborative Doctoral Awards are the second scheme that we offer, CDA, another acronym, and that's when a group of supervisors get together, design a studentship, and we then support that application, and we ask you to apply to be the student who takes that project forward. So we've got videos about the CDAs, and there's a lot more advice on those, so I won't dwell on the distinction of that too much, between those schemes too much. I think the most important piece of advice that I can give you is that your project will have at least 2 supervisors, normally 2, and those supervisors are going to be at normally at least 2 different DTP universities. The norm is 2 supervisors at 2 DTP universities. We're a bit distinctive, a bit different maybe from some of the other DTPs in that structure. The most important thing for you is to find supervisors at 2 different DTP universities, to reach out to them, to get their guidance, support and backing for your project. Contact them as soon as you can. Find the right people who are well suited through their interests and qualifications to be your supervisor, and find people who are going to be supportive and back you up and enthusiastic about your project. Make sure you have the feeling that that's going to be the relationship that you have with your supervisors. Talk to them about your project, get feedback on your proposal, get feedback on your application for a place at the home university you want to base yourself at. This is the other really significant thing that you'll see in our guidance. We talk about a home institution and a co-institution. Your home institution is the university that you're going to be registered at, you're going to apply for a place to study at, and where your home supervisor will be. Your co-institution is the partner institution where you're not registered there as a student, but you're affiliated to that university, you have access to their training and support, and your supervisor, your co-supervisor is at that institution. So you want to get together the team of supervisors across the consortium that really back your project. And there's a lot more advice on that in our written guidance, and we've also got a video about picking a supervisory team. The next really important piece of advice I'd give is to get feedback on your application. Your potential supervisors are probably going to be the most important source of feedback to help you refine your proposal. If you're based still at a university doing a master's, for example, you could talk to your tutor there as well to get further support. Try and talk to other students who've gone through the process as well. So another great thing to do when you reach out to your proposed supervisors is ask them, do they have current PhD students who they could put you in touch with, who could tell you a bit about life as a student, share their experience with you, give you some tips about applying for a place. Talk to family members, talk to friends, talk to people who can read your proposal as a general reader, take a step back from the academic intricacies and give you some general advice about clear communication and effective communication. You're going to be making an application for a place at your home institution, and you're going to be making an application for DTP studentship. The two are somewhat different. They ask for different things. Bear in mind that your application for DTP studentship will be read by experts in your field, and it's got to convince experts in your field. But aspects of it will also be read by academic non-specialists. So make sure you're giving a clear and compelling case to fund your research to those academic non-specialists. And again, that's why it's really good to get feedback from a wide group of people, because what might make sense to you in the terms of your discipline and your subfield might not make sense to a more general readership. Clear and effective communication is really, really important. One of the other aspects of the application process that probably needs a bit of demystifying is the alignment statement, which is something we ask for to show how you are going to benefit from the opportunities that the DTP offers, but also how you're going to bring things to our community of students that will make for a really dynamic and interesting experience for everyone. So we want to see how you are going to align your research with what we offer and how you're going to work together with a broader group of students. The best advice I can give about the alignment statement is to have a look in our guidance for applicants at the assessment criteria. There are many ways you can show that alignment. I've made a video on this as well, so there's more information there. Have a look at our social media, have a look at our website about the different placements, research clusters, partnership activities that we run. Think about how you could benefit from and contribute to those activities. Hopefully that advice helps make sense of our written guidelines and makes clear some of the really key aspects of the application process. In the next video, as part of this online session, I'm going to look at some of the advice that our diversity and inclusion advocates have asked us to focus on in this session. Talking to our diversity and inclusion advocates in the South Western Wales Doctoral Training Programme, the DTP, they've really encouraged us to think a bit about some of the ways that we could advise potential applicants and think about the different circumstances people come from, how we can support people coming from very different communities to engage with the application process. So that's what I want to talk about a bit now. I think one of the very first things that our advocates suggested we needed to discuss was the issue of imposter syndrome, which is something that many of us suffer with during our entire working lives. And it's by no means unique to applying for a PhD and applying for PhD funding. So our advocates have tried to put down some of their advice based on their own experiences, some of the reasons why you could think about overcoming that reticence or anxiety and put in an application for a really good research project that we'd really welcome. So believing in yourself, believing in the merits of your proposal is always the first step in the process. And hopefully some of the advice that the student advocates have given here can really help you think about overcoming that barrier. I think one of the other questions we get asked a lot about is coming to study for a PhD as a mature student. And it's one of the issues that our diversity and inclusion advocates have really spoken with us about a lot. And hopefully some of the videos that we've asked them to record really underpin the fact that being a mature student, undertaking a PhD is not necessarily an obstacle. In many ways, it can be a real strength in a successful application. You may be a couple of years out of higher education. You may not have been in a university environment for many years. Our students are from all age groups, and they often bring a whole range of different lived experiences, skills, training to their PhD work, and as a result they approach their work in really well-informed, creative and different ways. So there's no one way to do a PhD, and having experience of different environments, different workplaces, different communities can be really, really valuable in giving your research a distinctive and innovative approach. So our advocates have given their advice on this, and also you can learn a lot more about this from some of the videos we've put up on the YouTube channel. Something else our advocates have emphasised is the barrier that the cost of living can really put up to further study. And we know that studying in the UK is not cheap, even with SWWDTP stipend and fees award. And I think our advocates have talked this through. They've offered a wide range of different tips and advice on this. If you're talking to a current student at the university who would like to be your home institution, they can, I'm sure, provide you with further information on living costs, accommodation, the ways to make being a student affordable in that city. I think it's also worth noting that many PhD students also do some teaching in the course of their studies, and that universities will pay you for doing that teaching. So we provide additional funding for many activities, many aspects of your research. It's also possible to earn additional money by taking part in various DTP paid programs, but also by taking part in the opportunities that your home institution will offer, particularly for teaching. Our diversity and inclusion advocates have also asked us to give advice to international applicants in particular. And we've tried to put together some of the different things that are worth thinking about. Coming to the UK as an international student is an expensive and complex process. What do you need to think about when making that decision? There are many different factors. We've tried to put some of these together in our slides. It's also really good to talk to the international office and the postgraduate admissions office at your proposed home institution, as they can offer a lot of additional advice. Bear in mind that you will need to make an application to your home institution for a place, and they will have particular requirements for international student applications. Also bear in mind that your home institution is the first port of call for talking about any visa issues that you have inquiries about. And also talk to your potential home institution about how they handle the difference between home fees and international fees. So the DTP can fund students at the level of UK domestic fees. International fees are higher. Some institutions cover that difference. So talk to your potential home institution about that issue. The other thing that we've emphasised on the slide is that the DTP isn't permitted to cover relocation costs, issues like visa fees, NHS surcharges, and that many parts of our region are expensive places to live. And private landlords may request multiple months of rent in advance. So you really want to, as an international student, get as much information as you can about the cost of living and the associated costs of coming to the UK as a student. Your home institution will have an accommodation office, and they can often give you advice about university accommodation and affordable private sector accommodation as well. So do think about that very carefully when you're planning an application. Make sure it's affordable to you. Our inclusion and diversity advocates have asked us to advise on is the support that we offer for neurodivergent applicants. The SWWDTP welcomes a very significant number of neurodivergent students every year, and we seek to provide a lot of support and training for all of our students, particularly to keep in mind the particular ways of working that work best for neurodivergent students. We do have several mandatory in-person events for training each year, and we know that some people find in-person events much more accessible than online events, but others can find in-person events challenging. So we're working really hard to try and make all of our events accessible to all, whether they're in person or online. With in-person events, for example, we really seek to make sure that we always have a quiet space available for students who need that during an intensive in-person event. Some final pieces of advice that our diversity and inclusion advocates would like us to pass on is that if you're successful in your application for funding, you will find that your home institution will be able to provide a lot of support on issues such as housing, mental health and well-being while you're a student there. So there's a lot of support provided at institutional level. Also, the SWWDTP provides, we follow UKRI's advice on funding, sick leave, paid parental leave and paid annual leave. So there are various schemes in place to support you both at your home institution and at the SWWDTP. Also, home institutions offer a great deal of further support on a wide variety of access and disability issues. So there's a lot of help there for all students, a lot of advice, a lot of support, a lot of training. So we really do encourage you to put in an application and bring your excellent ideas for research to us, and Do talk to your supervisors about the best way to support and develop your application. Get advice, get feedback, and provide a compelling case for us to give you the support for the project you want to take forward. Thank you.